Good morning. We are back to this right with me as I now have a tripod for my webcam, so hopefully things will shake less when I type now that the camera is not sitting on my monitor. And we're working on, actually, let me pull that up. Which chapter am I on? I've already started this chapter last night. I started it with a dragon, naturally speaking, an old version of it, so it probably needs some editing before we go any further. Pull up my outline. So I'm writing this book on contract, and I'm currently on chapter 33 of 50. Gotta have that done by the end of the week. They're pretty short chapters, so this shouldn't actually be that miserable. So the party, we've got our main character, Dury. He is a clay golem who is under an illusion that makes him look like a human. His companions are Hudson the Barbarian and Shudan the Druid, siblings, the last remaining members of their tribe. They are off to kill a dragon. It was a poorly conceived mission on their part. On the way, they're attacked by gnomes riding giant bats. The gnomes say, "Oh, we thought you were other vampires." And they're like, "Other vampires?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're being ruled by a vampire in our gnomish underground society." And they're like, "Okay, we'll kill the vampire because we're heroic and stuff." And so they're on the way down. It can quickly apparent that with the giant bats dead, the return to the gnomes underground society would take considerably longer than it. To they left immediately as everyone was so excited from the fight. But there was no chance anyone would get further sleep that night. The gnome seemed what was the leader's name? Devious plan, Migas. Migas. And I guess we just go back to your... Then I guess we'd just go back to our camp and leave you to explain yourselves to Lord Jedabiah. Siduri. I've given it some thought, and I don't know that you have much to gain from leaving us here, even if you don't think we're actually... So I don't care about split infinitives. There's really no reason for English to have a rule against split infinitives. It's a rule inherited from Latin because it's, as far as I know, physically impossible to have a split infinitive there, and just a bunch of Ivy League people were like, "Well, Latin is a scholarly, gentlemanly language. It's a matter of showing you education to avoid the split infinitive in the English." But we're not writing or speaking Latin. We're writing and speaking English. There's really no reason to not have a split infinitive. Avoiding that would prevent us from saying too boldly go, and just that would be a cultural travesty. So I try to avoid split infinitives for the sake of not annoying other people. But if I really like how a split infinitive looks in a sentence, I'm totally going to use it. And sometimes it's just much easier than trying to wrangle the adverb into some other portion of the sentence. Guild of him. Yeah, Dury has a sunlight potion that, being an alchemist, he just knows how to make potions. And he thinks the sunlight potion will just evaporate any vampire it touches. So they're going down. He's just planning on eating a sunlight potion at him. I don't know that you have much to gain from leaving this here, even if I don't think we're actually going to kill the vampire lord of the leader in the sea. Yeah, I couldn't remember Mikus's name. So I just put the leader. He snorted and put a little further ahead. Dury made potions of light. The voice to text automatically puts spaces on either side of the M dash. I really hate spaces on either side of the M dash. I was writing for another site previously where they said, "Oh yeah, we use AP style," but they didn't in this regard. They used M dashes in a completely different way, without actually mentioning that in the style guide. Dury made potions of light. Not the potion of a sunlight he would use against Jedediah, but ordinary ones with similar effects to land. Pinecone versus Pinecone. I guess that'll work if it's not correcting me. Hudson, I do need to check the word count. 55, that's fine. As long as I'm under 70, I'm fine for the style guide for this site. Hudson should and himself. Colloquially, that's fine. Editor may get irritated at that. We'll just say Hudson and shoot on each. You can F light that. You feel like they could actually see where we're walking in the middle of the dark forest. The gnome seems somewhat odd at this. Odd, that's what it would have been. This potion making capability. One asked a few questions, revealing through conversation that Gnomish society had little understanding of alchemy. We suppose that made sense. Gnomes were not very common. Gnomes were uncommon on the surface, as far as he knew. In his experience, he had only met 15 so throughout his... I don't know, 15 seems like a kind of odd, a very specific number. Could not have met more than 20 throughout his whole life. Gnomes tended to be merchants or tourists. The gnomes he came across tended to be merchants or tourists. Not exactly. Not actual. Merchants or tourists. Not actual citizens integrated into surface life. Dury had occasionally wondered about this throughout his life, but never given it very much a thought. How do more of your people live above ground? He asked. There are plenty of dwarves who live among humans, and I was under the impression... I thought both your homelands were somewhat similar, being underground. Let them spout into the... Just to avoid close repetition of ground. Yes, and it's for that reason we call them cousins, not brothers and sisters. A proper gnome could never stand to live on the surface for very long. Very not wanting cause undue offense. He from a further. Meandering. Goes to the end of the meeting and you walk through the forest. Journey which unfortunately did not benefit from roads or we'll be coming upon the city guards in a moment. Mightiest warriors and the slightest. What am I trying to do with this? I'm on the city guards in the moment. I don't know that I have a good joke for this aside from haha he's saying they were vicious, but they would actually be, you know, really small creatures. Like the gnomes are about the size of a human baby, but you know, they look like adults. I'm probably overthinking this. Coming upon the city gods in a moment. They're the only really loyal gnomes Amogus to Lord Jedediah. He's spared no expense at bribing and rewarding them for keeping the rest of us in line. 73. By the way, if you do a lot of writing in various programs in Chrome, I do recommend both the Search Edom Online extension and the Word Counter Plus extension. They're just very handy to have at a moment's notice. Now I've got to check in with my writing partner. It's been 15 minutes. Actually, gotta check my word count here. Yeah, if you're not familiar with the Edam Online, let me say a GNOME, search Edam Online, and it'll bring up, actually let me, no, it's fine. And it'll give you the Edam Online entry for it. Dwarf-like Earth Doings, Spirit, and Sea-related entries, etc. And just very, very helpful. And of course, you can even and on here you could search within a pettifogger. Lovely. So yeah, very helpful. While I'm waiting for my partner to get back to me. Another great tool is Google Ngram. One of my favorite tools for editing more than anything. Again, I'm actually going to yeah, there we go. So say gnome, no haphazard. And you can see the usage of different words over time according to the corpus you have selected. I have the, just the general, and English fiction is actually, I didn't realize they had an English fiction. I could have sworn they didn't previously. Maybe I just didn't bother looking. I mean, the 2019 is pretty new. Let me see. Yeah, getting back to there. I've used this a lot in editing, especially when somebody's writing historical fiction and they want to know how often certain terms were used or certain spellings were used throughout history. Oftentimes in historical fiction, you're not going to change the spelling. Oftentimes that could just mean going back to like the British English spelling of words if you were back in like the mid 1800s, and that's not necessarily going to help anybody, but knowing which, for example, a lot of our words that we use in modern American English as kind of slang words, or even just common words in conversation, came about during the Cold War or after World War II in general. And so if you're writing a book that takes place before World War II, a lot of these words just were not used, and I'm trying to think of a good example. Mutually self-destruction, let's say that. Self-destructive. It was used a tiny bit, and maybe it could even be that. I forget, there's potentially a way that you, yeah, like self-destructive really started to become heavily used around this time period after the 50s, in the 80s. It was really not used previous to this. The term came about in context of self-destruct in terms of technology, and I'm doing a very poor job explaining it. That's okay. It's first thing in the morning and it's a Monday. Ngram is cool. That's what I'm trying to say. And when you're not first thing in the morning on a Monday, And you can, remember the history that you can remember when you're not trying to explain it to a faceless non-audience on a stream. It's very helpful research tool, as long as you don't let yourself get tricked by things that seem obviously self-explanatory when there are better reasons for it. Keep the rest of us in line. He spared no expense. I recommend pro-writing aid to tens of people, but it's not perfect, obviously. It will apparently not point out he's spared so expense, while like Google Docs, I think, would probably point that out. Pro-writing is amazing for many other things, but it just doesn't catch some things, unfortunately. Still catches many better things than Grammarly. I just put things into multiple spell checkers, and that kind of checks everything in the end and helps me get pretty clean copy. That's something I've started doing more since I put out my last book and realized that I had typos on the front page still, because I was just using one spell checker, and it happened to not catch the thing that also my, human eyes and human brain didn't catch over the many times of reading the book. You spend no expense at bribing, rewarding them. No expense in bribing and rewarding them for keeping the rest of us in line. We already had Derry nodding up there. Reusing action tags is something I've had to do a lot in this project, but I need to be careful that I'm not using them too close together. Hudson gave a sly smile. So we'll need to do a little bribing of our own. Get in. What would be a funny thing for him to suggest they use for bribing? Probably not gonna think of anything. We need to do a little bribing of our own to get in. Luckily, Derry here makes a mean pot of stew, as you and your lot can attest to. Because looked exasperated. Now, what was very good stew, yeah. All I mean is this will be your first impression with loyalists to Lord Jedediah. It was wonderful stew, yes. Yeah, I do like that feature of pro-writing aid in particular. It reminds me to put commas after adverbs. It suggests that I remove some stuff that oftentimes will just make it cleaner. I thought both your Hamlins were. And it tends to be less aggressive in dialogue, thankfully. It recognizes that people talk in ways that are not always orthodox English. I thought both your homelands were somewhat. I thought both your homelands were somewhat similar. I thought both your homelands were similar. I thought your homelands were somewhat. Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. I thought your homelands were somewhat similar. That's a better cadence. This will be a first impression, not of, and yeah. Loyalists to Lord Jedediah. If you insult them, they're likely to make it difficult to to gain an audience with him. And another thing that I've been making an effort to do here is, though there are times when other people in the scene could be giving problem-solving exposition, I guess you could say, the audience for this kind of book wants the main character to be as competent as possible. So though it would be perfectly fine for Migas here, for most readers to say, treat them with respect so that they'll, expedite your process, I think the reader base will prefer if Dury, the main character, is the one who makes that connection here. Yes, said Dury. We should treat them with respect so they feel proud to present us, correct? Migas looked relieved. Exactly. Do that, and hopefully this strange plan of yours will go off without a hitch. Until he murders all with his profane vampiric eye beams, of course. Do that, and hopefully the strange plan of yours will go out of a hitch. Ignored the... his human companions. Jokes, no speeches, no flexing, no intimidation. Got that? It turned out grimace. Not sure why you're including me in that warning. I will do my... don't want to have close repeat of my... Your wish is my... we already had that as the genie's. As you command, my dear friend. Don't worry. I'll try to keep my beloved sister in line. Let's see. I'll be right back. Water is important. Whoops. Yeah, it doesn't do me any good to keep the camera on a tripod if I then bump it with my foot. I've got an app that reminds me... Where is it? It's called... Water Drink Reminder, and it does what it says on the tin. I set a daily water goal, and it's based on my body weight and activity. My goal at the moment is like 99 fluid ounces, and as I drink water, I log it as fluid ounces, and if a period of time passes where I have not hit the, how far I should be in the day, it gives me a notification. Thankfully, I'm pretty good at the moment. I've had 36 fluid ounces of liquid today. So I forget to hydrate if I don't have a reminder. I'm ashamed to say. But thank the good Lord for technology. Not sure, but all right. The mouth of a unopened of a cliff that rose before them, even to Dury's superhuman golemic vision. Golemic is not a real word, I don't think. So let me look it up in Ingram. See if anybody has ever used it before. Not been used in the English fiction corpus, but it has in the English corpus. And it's not giving me the option to look in books, but let me compare it to a word like a thrombosis. So yeah, not a very common word. Okay. I probably don't know the proper spelling of that. Anyway, yeah, I'm not the first person to ever use it. Let me just make sure it doesn't have another meaning that I will be embarrassed about. I mean, as a person's name. Yeah, other people have used the word. The golemic destructive force. Yeah. It's fine. It doesn't have some kind of a golemic. Yeah, I struggle a lot with ADHD as, I mean, just in life in general, but as a writer. It's easy for me to be distracted. Thankfully, I started medication some months ago that has helped tremendously. But, it doesn't fully replace the systems a person has to keep in place to keep their life functional. It just makes it easier to avoid some distractions. And being actively aware of them is the the first step. So I need to not just look up everything that comes to mind. Say, the mouth of a cavern opened in the side of a cliff that rose before them. Even Duri's superhuman golemic vision. The darkness too fathomable. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not too, it's a saturation. The darkness grew unfathomable as even the barest of moonlight. The darkness... The darkness grew more fathomable as cavern's passage grew deeper? That may not be the right term, but I gotta move on. It's the... Oops. Forgot to get back to my writing partner. It's only about 250. Unfortunate. Dang it. I have really got to position this better so that I do not hit the tripod when I flail out with my foot. The way I have it situated currently, the third leg of the tripod is right next to my foot. Still better than having it on the monitor and shaking when I shake my little desk too much. Dun 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 dun. Even to Dory superhuman, golemic vision, darkness grew more unfathomable as the cavern's passage grew deeper. Although here, Hudson asked, Tentet. The Guards? No, said Migas. Further in. Careful. We have some traps hanging from the roof. So tall folk hurt themselves if they wander in by accident. I'm ashamed to say that I drink a lot less water usually when it's just plain. You know, it's easy for me to drink lots of plain water when I'm dehydrated. I can just, you know, quaff like 3 cups of it at once. But making sure that I stay hydrated throughout the day properly so I don't get miserable dehydration headaches that feel like I'm hungover. I have to use water drops to to be able to just guzzle it down. I found some ones from Walmart I like. It's their grape flavor, but it's their clear one that doesn't have any dye in it. And it uses malic acid instead of just citric acid, which is malic acid is the apple sour. So it kind of has this like green apple sort of authentic tang to it, rather than just being the citric acid sour that everything under the sun seems to be. I like it a lot. Certainly not the best thing for my teeth to be drinking something this acidic probably all day, but I don't have a but, just it's better than drinking soda, I guess. I could be doing that. That's not a good excuse. And talking about drinks is not a good excuse for not writing. Goodness. "Now," said Migas, "they're further in. Careful, we have some traps hanging from the roof so tall folk hurt themselves if they wander in by accident." Dury. Push the lip of the cave and fishhooks and shards of broken glass hung from at about head height for a 6-foot human. Hudson's stretched. There's got to be a better word for me to use than dramatically. There's another thing I love pro writing aid. Double click on a word, get some thesaurus stuff. Stretched fiercely, and then fell into a deep squat. "If I must," he sighed. "I must." Began crab walking into the cavern. Shoot on. Shillelagh Mine from Glennondale. Yes, the spell because this is all just very Dungeons and Dragons based. As a druid, she is always calling upon her Shillelagh spell, which just turns her wooden staff into a magical implement, which mostly she uses as a shield. Cavern. And the dangling traps set off bubble as to a smooth glass. We'll have her step and stepped close to Dury. Around them. Kept within the he was pretty certain the glass could not hurt him, but the fish hooks might prove annoying. But the fish hooks might. Yeah, but the hooks might catch in his. That. At any rate, brushing the things from his face would be like walking through cobwebs. He was grateful to have someone nearby who could take care of minor inconveniences as these without to mix a whole potion. Yeah, let's wailing scream from further, and Hudson whipped out his someone needs our help. Now, said Megas, sounding bored. Those are... what would be a funny word for the... So they're screaming toads. I'm trying to think if there's something funnier than just the fact that they are screaming toads, which is pretty funny in and of its own, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. And if you don't think that screaming toads are funny, then maybe we shouldn't be friends. Let's see. Those are the shriek toads. Them to deter invaders or to lure them into the spiky pit, trap a few feet in front of you. Careful, don't fall in. We smear the spikes with toad poo. It's quite paralytic. see. Claymores. The average claymore, according to Wikipedia, average 42-inch blade. We'll say that he has about a 7-foot reach with his long arms. I'll have Darius say it. He's the main character. He should be talking more. When are you planning on telling us about the trap? I told you just now, did I not? I have this sneaking suspicion you were perfectly happy with Hudson falling in, getting paralyzed by toad dung. Would you think that? Yes. Vegas. Why? 3 are our saviors, after all. Wait, what? Possibly lead you to that conclusion. I'm really using a lot of action tags. Please. I can ask if itself is any more treachery. So you might as well. Well, if I say she can do that, then the question is, why doesn't she just do it now? Mikas. The moment I think you're planning to betray even my Fun of... That doesn't work well either. Negus, if I get even the further hint that you're to so much prank on my phone over brother, tying you to a beehive and slathering you with honey. Are we clear? Just hug the walls and you can avoid the pit. To counter. Was our moat, if you will. Just hug the walls and you can avoid the pit. They did so. Took the front position, because I'm not entirely sure that all of my readers will necessarily know what taking point is. Just because they may be using a Google Translator to read this, and a colloquial expression like that may not translate well. I'm sure I'm missing many other expressions like that that also wouldn't translate well, but I'm aware of that one at least. Had the feeling any traps would be calibrated to nonetheless. They soon came upon a huge stone door blockading the guarded it, looking like infants just for a parade. Squeaked one. By the order of Lord Jedediah, Master of General of the armies of hell, state your business. We have come to offer our allegiance to Lord Jedediah. 61. We offer our allegiances. I will be right back. All right. Yes. Word count 58. Yeah. Yeah. So this will be a chapter, full chapter. It's 1256 words. Didn't I have another ellipsis up here somewhere? Maybe instead of excited from the fight, excited after the fight? Just making sure I don't have any paragraphs which are over 70 words. My other worry is that perhaps I don't have enough variation in paragraph lengths. Let's see, sentence length. Seems like it's fine. Glue index, that's something I'm not going to be able to do much about. Sentence variety. 5 long sentences found. If I get even a further hint that you're about to pursue so much as a prank on my buffoon of a brother, Vegas took the front position. Yeah. Simplifying long sentences is a good way to get more professional reading prose. When I do editing for other people's manuscripts and they have a lot of not even really complex sentences, like there's not a ton of like parentheticals and modifiers, but just a lot of things that could easily just be divided into multiple simple sentences, I tend to suggest that those are simplified down. Close to the end of their meandering walk. A journey which unfortunately do not benefit from roads or even dirt trails. Negus stopped the party and addressed them with a severe expression. Then we just go back to our camp and leave you to explain yourselves to Lord Jedediah. Let me make sure I don't have Jebediah here somewhere. I do not. I could. With the giant bats dead, the return journey to the Gnome's Underground Society would take considerably longer than it had taken to reach the trio in the first place. Okay, reports echoes, that's the main one that I do. It takes a long time. Then we'd go back to camp. Gnomes. Gonna do at this. I had occasionally wondered about this. Never given it much thought. Yeah, let's just find very. It's one of those words that's always just good to cut out. I say always, often good to cut down on to reduce the representation throughout his life. Those he came across tended to be traveling merchants or tourists, not actual citizens integrated into surface life. Why don't more of your people live above ground, he asked. There are plenty of dwarves. You could just say, come above ground. They don't span. A proper child of the dirt can never stand to live on the surface for long. They're the only really loyal gnomes among us. Yeah, that's confusing. They're the only gnomes among us. Who are actually loyal to Lord Jedediah. He spared no expense in bribing and rewarding them for keeping their brothers in line. Hudson gave a sly smile. So we'll need to do a little bribing of our own to get in. Luckily, Derry here makes a mean pot of stew, as you and your lot can attest to. Oh, it was wonderful, yes. The darkness grew unfathomable as the deepened. If I must, he sighed, then I must. A shimmering bubble of a spell as though it was smooth glass. The shards could not hurt him. Migas. If I get even a further hint that you're about to pull so much as a prank on my buffoon of a brother, I'm tying you to a beehive and slathering you with honey. Are we clear? The lack of danger. Hudson opened his mouth to speak. Might come from between the barbarian's lips. I'm Dirty Dell, and these are my companions. Hudson and Shudan, the last surviving warriors of a tribe which died fighting the heavens themselves. We offer our allegiance to Lord Jedediah and his... Yeah. And I'm gonna slap this into Atticus. One moment. Let me, a devious plan. Okay, chapter 32. Just gonna name it this for the moment. The Gnome Hideout. Yes, we need to convert to straight quotes for the style guide. Just one more check. This ellipsis is actually 3 dots. Check for no instances of 2 spaces. Copy. Now, thankfully, Atticus will maintain the formatting of the non-line breaks, basically. If I do here, if I pasted this into Google Docs as it was, then it would add lines between everything, which we don't want at the present moment. The giant bat's dead, the return. We will want it when I submit the chapter to the content management system that I will finally submit it to, but that's not at the moment. Okay. Above ground. As the opposite of underground, that's fine. The gnome spat onto the forest floor. Hudan, yes, hut. Yes, that's a very important thing to keep. Huds and not Hudan. And see, yeah, Pro Writing Aid can sometimes be aggressive when it comes to not flagging proper names. And so it doesn't necessarily realize that I want Hudson, not Hudan. I'm not getting any more red flags here. I'm certain that when I go to the other thing, Google Docs, that I will see some more issues. So I'm gonna add that here. Now I just made a copy of the previous one. Because it's in the folder for my editor to see. It keeps all the permissions. So copy, paste without formatting. It pastes it in as it should. Jedediah is the name we want. Above ground has the same 2 there. Invisible thread. Thread could be plural, but just to avoid spiky. Yeah. Even a, yeah, we'll just change that. Even a hint. Basically, the Atticus copy is my archive. The Google Docs is my copy for submission. So I like to make the changes here, but also make them in Atticus. If I were to make an audiobook, not audiobook, an ebook out of a book, then it would be done in Atticus. I do not have the rights to do so for this contract, but it's still just, I'm getting in the habit of keeping my archives in Atticus. I'm moving on from Scrivener as best as I can, just because Atticus is made by the people who made Publisher Rocket, which is great software. I'm happy to support them. They're certainly better supporting their customer base than the Scrivener devs have, which is unfortunate. As far as Scrivener is concerned, they've kind of been the, unfortunately, industry standard for indie writers for word processing and document processing. And raised to his voice. Goodness. I wish I could just get the Google Docs spell check in other places. Like, I have the enhanced spell check turned on, so I don't understand what the difference is between the two. I guess Google just really wants people using their the Gnomeland, because it's like the homeland, you see. Awesome, so that's that. And with Atticus, I was having an issue previously with it, and with some of my documents reverting to previous states, and Atticus customer support was like, oh, well, are you following the pop-ups that pop up telling you to log out every once in a while to, you know, sync your stuff with the server? I'm like, no, I've never seen one of those. And I still have never seen one of those. And I wonder if just like any pop-up blocker ever would blop that particular pop-up. It's like I have uBlock Origin turned off for this site, and I still have never seen a pop-up telling me to log out. But now I know to log out so it can sync. And I suppose the fact that it is not syncing constantly with the server is how it has better performance than some other cloud-based stuff. So now I'm going to delete out of this. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I need to be pacing my chapters a little bit faster. Oh, is the audio no longer going? Yep, I don't know how long that's not been going. Sorry about that. I was not logged into Spotify. I really don't care much for Spotify, but it has the Stream Beats lo-fi playlist on it, and I can't figure out an easier way to get it. It's copyright-free lo-fi music for Twitch streams, YouTube videos, and nap times. I've got the link in the description, I believe, already. Right. So we need to see a bit about their society here. Instead, one another. It was clear that they had never encountered a situation like this before. To avoid close repetition of avoid close repetition of Dury. Turn back to the party. Indeed. Noble soldier. Your scouts, whatever they are, ambushed us in the night, which resulted, though they fought mightily, their steeds were vanquished in the battle, and they soon were, and we soon overpowered them with our tremendous strength. Dury was trying to emulate Hudson's bombast while keeping the barbarians occasional insanity out of his speech. He felt it would be a good balance for this situation. So you're not trying to ransom? So you're not trying to ransom these worthless slugs, then? Whatever for? They informed us of the might of your vampire lord and how his armies are sweeping over the world as we speak. Being powerful warriors who deserve only the strongest master. We quickly decided that the best thing was to offer our services to Lord Jedediah. As we are powerful warriors, deserve only the strongest masters, we quickly decided that the best thing was to offer our services to Lord Jedediah. It's true. The power is extraordinary. They killed all our giant bats with a single spell. Adjusted their stances in a way Dury interpreted as defensive, so he bowed low. Of course, expect it will be many years before earn such a rank as yours. No way of knowing the stuff. Should be flattering. But we hope to prove ourselves in glorious battle and perhaps earn with your great master soon. Prestige. Could you perhaps introduce us to Lord Jedediah? I would be forever in your debt. Dury could see none of the faces. He felt certain that the gold trimmed gnome stood a little prouder at these words. Hesitantly, Very well. If you will obey my commands, I'd be happy to personally recommend you to as cadets. Whoops, I forgot. I'd need to oversee, personally, of course, as your outsiders could be proteges. Shudon made a sweeping curtsy. Swing her staff to add flair to the... Thank you so much. No idea how for such an opportunity. Self. And sweat beaded his forehead. Spear on the... This might have... This instance perhaps ended up... And gods, take the failed scouts to the Toad Mines. This instance ended. This event ended well, but their incompetence weakness might have cost us dearly in another case. Five. I felt terrible. Jeopardized. Yeah, I'll be right back. potentially halfway through this chapter. Yay! They are closed. Paw. Toward Megus's. For a moment, Dury was afraid Scouts would the trio's intentions to save themselves. Yet, they did not. A spark of fire ignited in Dury's chest. For all their words of doom, all their doubt, these gnomes were willing to put of faith. Dury. To trust. Dury determined not to let them down. Screamed some order in Gnomish. Soon creaked inward. Did I mention? The size of the doors. Huge stone door. Okay, singular. It's a little light, but there was very little light before Hudson and Shudon entered with their glowing potions. Tiny pin glowed on the cavern ceiling, which rose hundreds of feet into the air once they Their path must have led, down further than had could not imagine their genius. I'll just cut that. Rich natural bridges of stone spanned the cavern. That almost like the webs of any erratic spider superimposed on one another. Tiny carts, sledges that carrying loads Dury could not defy from the distance. Giant bats, all around, seeming to keep a watch on goings on below. Armored gnomes, clearly the guards of the city, lounged about and yelled at words were stop slacking. Buildings jutted from the cavern walls like stone bubbles. Tiny cavern walls. Like stone bubbles on the wall of a stone bubbles. A vein pulsed on the side of Woodson's neck. It was clear he had something to say about this. Something actually dangerous. given their ruse. Thanked. Should probably make that internal because I've had not much of it, not much dialogue recently. Think Kronsakiel. His mouth shut. Thought. Very. What were they called? The toads? The shriek toads. Not a single gnome born. Little pile of toad. This hair seemed a bit longer than it had been a moment ago. Barbarians. It's wrong. Though they had not brought cart and donkey to the cavern, ran through the still various parts of his clay body. Knowing something like this would actually, he thought, so stupid for not having prepared. Finally, he mixed I'm making some medicine for being of the earth, the magic of the earth in veins, threatening to fill him with a dangerous amount of power. Now that we're around, I'm saving all our lives. I may be just being far too long with this chapter. Scanning Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan quotes, trying to find something that Mr. Hudson could paraphrase here. Probably not the right thing, but that's just what came to mind. Can I take something from The Prince? Maybe twist it around a little bit, maybe? I don't know. Maybe just use it straight. Meh. I'm wasting time. Thankfully. Whoops. I just nudged the camera again. Lovely. An immortal enslaves a people. Broken them proved a greater master, but he never fall. Suffering will cease so long as he draws. So long as he. This is definitely too long. 111. The bear chases the deer and shatters its. Bear chases the elk. Proves itself. Then the elk's suffering is over and it nourishes the beast will fall one day to a great hunt. What was it called? Minor potion of. 10 minutes from. Indeed. Goodness, this is long. 1,600 words. Ugh. Okay, ellipsis. That's a normal one. Or rather, it's as it should be. Okay, good. It was clear they had okay, reports, echoes. glanced at each other. Truly all that strong, she said hesitantly. Perhaps we could put you to some use. I would recommend you to Lord Jim. Good time. Let's see how many that's. Not terribly far from each other. Straight quotes. Oops. Let's see, what would be a good name for this? Vampire's domain. Seems like a good idea. Use could be of use, I guess. Okay. Now, go to one of these. copy. It's gonna be 34. The vampire's domain. And paste without formatting. We'll see what needs to change here. Hello, Mr. McLeod. But the cat is wandering as he tends. You determined not to let them down. Identity. Yes, identify. Ingredients he had. I guess that's gonna be that. We're gonna stop the stream there for today. Thank you for watching today. I hope you found this helpful for body doubling or something similar, or just seeing the process of someone else writing and editing as we go.